He's a man of few words, but when he speaks, the world listens. A face carved by time, a voice as sharp as his stare. For over 6 decades, Clint Eastwood has defined what it means to be an American legend. From the dusty trails of spaghetti westerns to the director's chair of Oscar-winning dramas, his name echoes across generations. This is the story of the most popular Clint Eastwood, the icon who became a symbol of strength, independence, and timeless cool. Our story begins in the 1960s, when television was king, and Clint Eastwood was just another struggling actor. Before the fame, he was known as Rowdy Yates on the TV series Rawhide. But destiny had something far greater waiting for him, in the dusty hills of Spain. When Italian director Sergio Leone cast him in A Fistful of Dollars, 1964, Eastwood became the mysterious man with no name. He barely spoke, he smoked a cigar, and he shot faster than anyone else on screen. Audiences had never seen anything like it. The film was a worldwide hit. And suddenly, Clint Eastwood was no longer just an actor. He was a phenomenon. By the time The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly arrived in 1966, Eastwood's stoic gunslinger had become a global symbol. Cool, quiet, and endlessly watchable. He didn't just act in westerns, he redefined them. The 1970s brought a new kind of hero, or anti-hero, and Clint Eastwood was ready to fill the role. In 1971, he starred as San Francisco detective Dirty Harry Callahan, a cop who played by his own rules. Tough, relentless, and morally gray, Harry was the perfect reflection of a changing America. His line, "Do you feel lucky, punk?" became one of the most quoted in movie history. With Dirty Harry, Clint Eastwood became more than an actor. He was a cultural icon. But that same year, something else happened. Something that would change his life forever. He stepped behind the camera. In 1971, Eastwood made his directorial debut with Play Misty for Me, a psychological thriller that proved he wasn't just a cowboy or a cop. He was a true filmmaker. It was the beginning of a new chapter, one that would eventually earn him multiple Academy Awards and worldwide respect as one of cinema's greatest directors. Throughout the 1970s and 1980s, he directed and starred in a series of hits: High Plains Drifter, The Outlaw Josie Wales, Escape from Alcatraz, Pale Rider, and Tightrope. Each film revealed more of his artistic vision. Stories about loners, justice, and redemption. Eastwood had built a career not on glamour, but on grit, precision, and authenticity. By the early 1990s, Clint Eastwood had already done it all: actor, director, legend. But then came Unforgiven, 1992. This film wasn't just another Western. It was a reflection, a haunting farewell to the myth of the gunslinger. Eastwood played William Money, an aging outlaw who can't escape his violent past. Unforgiven was raw, emotional, and unforgettable. It won 4 Academy Awards, including Best Picture and Best Director for Eastwood. It proved that even after decades in Hollywood, Clint Eastwood was still capable of greatness, and that his storytelling only grew deeper with time. 13 years later, at the 2005 Oscars, Clint Eastwood once again took home Best Director for Million Dollar Baby. The film told the story of a determined boxer and her mentor, a quiet, heartbreaking masterpiece that moved audiences worldwide. At 74 years old, Eastwood showed that age was no obstacle to creativity. He continued to direct with passion, humility, and precision. His directing style was famously calm: 1 or 2 takes, minimal rehearsal, total trust in his actors. That's the Eastwood way. Even into his 80s and 90s, Clint Eastwood refused to slow down. Films like Gran Torino, American Sniper, Sully, and Cry Macho proved he still had stories to tell, and audiences still wanted to hear them. His work behind the camera has inspired generations of filmmakers. His presence on screen remains unmatched, quiet, powerful, and deeply human. Away from the spotlight, Eastwood is known for his discipline, independence, and simplicity. He doesn't chase trends or fame, he chases truth. Friends describe him as calm, focused, and deeply loyal. He's a man who lives by his own code, the same kind of code that made his characters legendary. At 94 years old, Clint Eastwood still works, still directs, and still embodies that same unstoppable spirit that first captured the world's attention more than half a century ago. So who is the most popular Clint Eastwood? The cowboy? The cop? The director? The storyteller? The truth is, he's all of them. Because Clint Eastwood isn't just one man, he's an idea, a symbol of strength, endurance, and integrity in a changing world. His legacy isn't defined by a single film, but by a lifetime of fearless choices and unforgettable performances. He is, and will always be, Clint Eastwood, a legend, a filmmaker, and the quiet heartbeat of American cinema.